today I'm one of the churches I play at, and I came on Sunday and there was a note sticking, and there's been a note off for quite a time, probably about 6 months, bottom C sharp. We just had to avoid it. Then there's a note off now in the middle as well. So while we've got to have the faceboards off, we may as well do the 3 problems in one fell swoop. So here's the different. I'll switch the blower on and you'll hear what happens. So we've got middle D, bottom C sharp not working at all, and then we've got a note off D sharp. So when you're playing an organ and that's sounding all the way, you can imagine it's quite annoying. So we're going to start at the back of this organ. It's probably about 1890. It's a Bevington of London, 1 manual, very small little organ. We do some tuning here, but nothing more than that. So we'll take the faceboard off and take it from there. Okay, so with the faceboard off, we can see the pull downs, and when I operate the thing physically, we've got the tapped wire, we've got a bushing there, the pull down that goes through the chest brass then has a leather lozenge which connects it with the little screw eye that goes into the pallet. So I'm going to take the pallet guard off on the video, so just take that out.
You've got that end here.
So,
and it's 36 that's broke away here.
So this is something, yeah, that's so the one that's playing up is
the one next to it, 37.
I'm just going to move you to the right, Simon, because we're going to...
Well, I'll move around here.
Yeah, you move around there. So, we can see the pallet here is actually open partly, so that could be simply a weak spring. I can't see anything on the pallet, but we'll probably come back with a pallet brush. So I need to make a new one of these wires because this one's snapped. I thought the hook was probably snapped, but it's not the case. It needs a leather lozenge making. Surely that's somewhere in the mechanism, you'd expect so. You can see here somebody's put a bread tie on. I'm not here to fix other people's bodge ups. It's not an overhaul, it's getting this thing working.
This one's broke away at the centre of the hook, hasn't it?
Yes, so we're going to make a new one of those. And over at this end, C sharp doesn't work. Which is that one. Yeah. Well, look, I think that's come apart. So we'll make another leather lozenge, and that should fix. You stay there, Simon. I'm going to go around to the console.
Yeah.
And see if it tries to work when I press the note.
It's doing nothing.
Yeah, did you see any movement at all?
There's nothing at all there, Richard. No.
Right, okay. But at least it's in the off position. So we'll make a leather lozenge for that one. A leather, so we need 2 leather thingies.
Two of those, and another wire for this one here.
Unless it's this side. It's this side where that note is.
Oh, right.
So it's that that's failed.
That one's broken.
Yeah, that's the C sharp.
Yeah. So I'll let
So if I bring the camera around to here, so C sharp, I didn't know it was every other, thought it was probably chromatic on this organ. Where's my camera? There we are. So the leather lozenge, which connects it to the hook there, has actually failed. So I'm just going to see if we can part that without breaking it.
Just move this torch.
That's going to snap. Just moved it a little bit just to take the leather lozenge off so that we can make some of those. I'll put that in my pocket. So probably need to make 3 of those.
Looks like all the others are okay.
Well, yeah, the only faults that we're going to do is what stops it from being played. So this one, which is on all the time, I wonder if it's got a weak spring rather than anything else.
I just can't see anything in on the pallet, which would normally be the reason.
So if I've got my spring catch with me, we'll take that off. So, having made a new pull down, which is this here, got a blue baize cloth. There's a little kink I've put in as it's passed through the chest brass. There's a little kink I've put in so we know where it bends over at the top. And of course, as soon as I start manoeuvring it, the hook breaks. So it's back to the workshop for a hook. So we have sorted the other end. So we've got a new leather lozenge. This note hasn't worked for years. It's a bottom C sharp. So you can see that's now as it should be. So we'll come back tomorrow and hopefully finish the job. Back to the front though. This is the one with no ivory cover. It is returning because we can see the innards, but the key's low. And the reason the key's low, I think there's a foreign body in part of the keyboard mechanism, because it's not the trackers. When we look at the trackers, everything's working normally and returning to the correct place. So I think there could be dead something under there, but there's so much dismantling to do because the stop mechanism's on here. To actually take the keyboard out is quite a massive thing. You'd have to take all the stops out, all the pins out. So tomorrow and see what's happening. At least we've got movement on C sharp now. So back at the church, it's actually the fifth visit. I made a little eye in the workshop. I need to slot the leather, which we've also made, into that slot there. So there we go. So it's a threaded 16 gauge wire, and there's a hole burnt in either end, and hopefully that will screw in and couple up with what's inside. It's a funny arrangement. I may have been doing this since 1979, 1980, but I've not seen it coupled this way before. I can dismal, but you can see they've ended up with some amateur repairs there. The hooks they're much thinner gauge and they're iron, which is why they're prone to break, because it's only lasted it's about 1890 this organ, so 135 years. Shocking. So to follow this through, we've got the new hook into the pallet, we've got the new leather coupling, we've got the new pull down, and then that goes into the wire into that new bushing, and that now is an original wire which hopefully won't snap, and we now need to put some action on this. In other words, we need the key, the action of the, because you've got springs in here, and that's what gives the keys the touch, which is 5/16 if I remember right. So the next thing that has happened is that the leather button, the thread, it's so rotten that it's stripped. So I did bring some spares, eye-watering 45p each. Right, we'll see if we've got any touch at the keyboard. That looks about right. So we can now put the faceboard back on. I'll just take the debris out of there. We've got a new button which is the wrong gauge, an old button which is stripped. So there we are, last look in there. See, that's been done with a commercially available not organ building eye. I've actually lost the one we were doing. Yeah, it's that one. Right, put the faceboard back on and the pallet guard in. So the pallet guard is this rail, and the idea is that if you pull one of the notes into the on position, that's the, you can see where the pallet is open to. Well, if it went lower than this gap, it would jump the pins. So you've got the pallet in its guide pins. So if you accidentally dropped a hymn book on the keys from quite a fair height, these could jump the pins, and then you'd of course end up with a note sticking, just like we've had, but for a different reason. So the pallet guard is there for that. Now I'll put the faceboard back in, and it's then sealed, and we can then put the pressure back on with the blower. That's the Facebook loop. Did I say Facebook? Faceboard on. Now there's a plate here which is kind of, I've always heard wind leaks on this organ, but this plate, there's a big wind leak around there. See if there's anything I can do about it, but I'm not here to fix the whole organ, obviously. So now I've got the wind on, you can see the bellows have risen. I can bounce those. Faceboard back on. I've dealt with that. There's a lot less wind leaks than there used to be. I think it's choked with muck rather than anything else. So I've got the ivory here. Sometime when I'm playing for a service, I'll bring the glue. I don't really fancy doing it in this damp weather. It needs scraping off, and we've got the right one, which came from was it Loghof in Germany, went bust. We've still got one. Anyway, I think the biggest thing here I didn't really show is we took the console out. I can't remember until I edit this video what bit I showed, and the biggest thing was 3 90-minute sessions getting detritus out of here. And the trouble is you've got to take the stop control out to get the thumper out, and sort out the foreign body, which was one of the causes of one of the problems. So we've had that bottom, that actually still wants pulling up. I've done it, I just haven't done the action. So just see if we can pull that up. I think that's another button we need to replace, so I'll go and do that. So balance it on there and just give it a go. Which isn't bad for 3 stops, and I didn't pull the dirty iron out. It's not going to add anything because it's quiet, isn't it? Yes folks, it is. Like that. Great to have the notes back in the middle octave. So D was sticking, D sharp was off, C sharp has been off for donkey's years. All sorted. Thanks for watching. The 1890 Bevington organ.